Okay, so for starters with my stuffing, I do it all completely homemade, other than I don't make my own bread. Yeah, that was something we used to do, but I don't do anymore. It's just easier. So I use a little bit of sausage in my stuffing, and I use the Jimmy Dean's hot because we like a little bit of spice. We're gonna use a couple cloves of garlic. We'll use some butter just for some moisture, and of course to add the fat and unhealthiness. We'll chop up some mushrooms. We got some onions, salt, pepper, a little bit of chicken broth, always the Lipton onion soup, a little bit of sage, a little bit of ground mustard, granulated onion powder, garlic powder, oregano, and basil. For my bread purposes, I like to use like a fresh baguette, and I'll chop that all up. And I usually add a little bit of breadcrumbs. These are the soft kinds. As you can see, they're not what breadcrumbs I cannot find in Florida. Everything down in Florida seems to be the hard, crunchy, almost crouton kind, and I don't care for those. And we're gonna add one special little ingredient. Papa Smurf and I don't like onion, we don't like celery. So we actually use a little bit of fresh baby spinach in it instead. So let's get started and we will get everything chopped up. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do, because it takes a little bit longer while I chop everything up, and if you notice, Papa Smurf and I really don't have a huge kitchen, so everything we do, we have to kind of just try to make the best of the space that we have. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get our sausage cooking. So we're gonna put that in the pan, and I generally try to cook this on like 4 or 5, so on medium heat I'll let this cook. Okay, so now that this is in the pan, I have my stove set to 4 or 5. We're just gonna kind of chop it up a little bit so it can cook thoroughly before we start, you know, flipping with it and everything. But yeah, so Pennsylvania Dutch food. I don't know if you know much about it. The food there is phenomenal, but every culture is different, and it's what you're used to growing up with. And I'm used to the Pennsylvania Dutch, and down in Florida things are a little different. They don't cook the way I do, so we're gonna just let this cook for a little bit, and we're gonna go over to the other side of the kitchen and we're going to start chopping up our ingredients as this cooks. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I need to do is, I have no stage presence, so therefore obviously I say a lot of ums, and I apologize, this is my first live video, but I promise you I will get better. Don't you love this knife? All rainbowy and holographic. I love it. It's my favorite knife to use for anything that we do. So we'll start with the onion, just because who likes to cut up an onion? So I'm going to, because this is going to be a pretty big batch, I'm only going to cut off probably half of this onion. It's a pretty large onion, so we're going to cut up half of this onion. So just cut the ends off, and we'll peel it, and then we'll cut it up. Now I like to take the first layer off as well, just because if you see, it kind of has, like, I call it the gross stuff. It's a little waxier and filmier. I don't care for that, so I'm going to take that off and throw that away as well. Now again, I'm doing this to suit us. You can add anything you want. You can take anything out you want. A lot of people like celery in their stuffing. Some people put in cranberries. Some people put in raisins. Some people put in some nuts. Not nuts, over nuts. So Papa Smurf and I don't like celery, as I said. And we like onion, but we like it very finely chopped. We like the taste of it. We just don't like the big chunks of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this up just a little bit, and then I'm going to put this in my little mincer to make it smaller. Okay, so now I have my little chopper. I love this little thing. My cats, on the other hand, really don't care for it. If I could get a video of them and their reaction when this starts up, they just run and hide. I think they think it's going to kill them. Who knows? They come back out afterwards. It doesn't scare them too much. So we're just going to throw this onion in here. We have the blade all in there, and we don't really want to juice this, but we just want to mince it up enough. Like I said, if you like onion, you can dice it yourself or chop it however big or small you want. We prefer to have it really small and minced, so. And then I'm just going to shake it down a little bit just to make sure. And then that looks pretty good to me. It's kind of what we like to see. Just like that. Just going to unplug this, put the lid back on it and set it aside for now. And we're going to move on to our mushrooms. And I just buy the regular white bella mushrooms, white mushrooms, any kind of mushrooms. I don't prefer to use the canned mushrooms. They tend to get mushy. Now, discretion, whether you wash mushrooms or don't wash mushrooms. People say to wash them, people say don't wash them. Being from Pennsylvania, we don't wash our mushrooms, so please use your discretion for what you do. I am actually going to take and probably use the mini chopper and chop these up as well, just because it's going to be quicker and simpler. We do like the taste of mushrooms. And I got a little bowl here, so we're going to just start putting some stuff in here, because we're going to want to mix this all up. So I'm going to go ahead and start my get a little bit of these onions out of here so they're out of the way. And we're going to get our little mini chopper back in order. And I'll probably speed this video up and just put some words on it because, as I said, this is the first time I've done this and I probably don't have very good stage presence. But maybe I won't, so we'll see. Just make sure you like and subscribe down below if you enjoy the video, or if you have any thoughts of how I can improve doing these things. I'm new with doing this, I enjoy doing it, and making this meal for these people, these neighbors. They're wonderful, nice, super nice people, and I just want them to feel like they have home here in the States. So we got a little bit of mushrooms in there. We're going to chop them up a little bit. Shake it down. Shake it down a little more. Alright. I'm going to add some more because that's definitely not enough. We like mushrooms, so we're going to add some more in here. And chop them up again. Shake them down because they got a little stuck. And they're getting a little stuck, so maybe these ones are a little too big. Take my handy dandy rainbow knife that I love so much. So this gets stuck just because the bottom is already wet and then it's not allowing it to go down. It's just a very inexpensive little miniature chopper, but for the amount of time that we use these things, it works just fine. Like I said, it's only Papa Smurf and I, so we're good with that. Alright, so there we go. We got some, there's one or two in there that are bigger pieces. That's fine. I'm just going to add that to our breading mix down here that we've already started. So now we have our onions in here. We have some mushrooms. And to me, that's not enough mushrooms. As I said, I don't do things by measurement. I do them more by sight. And a lot of taste. But here's what we have right now. So that's a lot of onion compared to the mushroom that I want in here. I think I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more mushroom. So let's speed through that real quick. So the people in our community, they're from all over. We have people from Nicaragua, we have people from Ecuador, we have neighbors that are from El Salvador, Colombia, Chile. So it's kind of very mixed culture. As a matter of fact, we're probably one of the very few American white people in our community. It's mostly Hispanic. Absolutely love it here. They're wonderful people, very gracious. I speak no Spanish. Kind of stinks sometimes, but hey. Alright, so let's chop these ones up a little bit. There we go. We're going to add that to our mix. And we're going to use this mini chopper one more time, and that's because we also like to add some fresh garlic. And garlic can be a pain, so we're going to, now there, that looks a little better to me. I like a little bit more mushroom. Personal preference, but this is some of the most amazing stuffing that I have ever had. And not just because I make it. This is a recipe that my mother and my grandmother and my grandmother's mother and my grandmother's grandmother all used. And I can remember being in the kitchen and we would be, I'm going to try to talk to entertain you a little bit as I do the garlic here. But I remember many holidays where we would get up on Thanksgiving and we'd start planning the night before, and I'd go over to my grandmother's and spend the night at her house, and I would help her get everything ready. And she always made me do the messy stuff, the stuff she didn't like to do. I didn't mind. I, peel the potatoes and mix the stuffing and stick the stuffing inside the turkey. And this garlic definitely is very much wrapped. Oh, because they have plastic on it this time. Dumb girl. Alright, so I'm going to go with probably 4 decent sized garlic cloves. So first thing we're going to do is just peel them apart here a little bit. That one is no good, so we're going to get rid of that. Got a little one and I have 3 real big ones. So let's get rid of this trash and the garbage. Garlic. Now garlic is very sticky, so sometimes it's very hard to cut up. And I just do the best I can do. But I have found that if you just, so you've got your garlic clove like this, and I have noticed if you just cut these little ends off, generally this peels off then. So I take, see that? It just peeled right off. And then I do the same to the other side. And now, just like that, I have a garlic clove with it's been the skin peeled off. And do the same thing to the other 2. And that made that really simple. last but not least, this little tiny baby one. And we're going to make sure that we have the peel off of it as well. Now, I said we were going to use this mini chopper because that's normally what I do. But I think, oops, let's put that there. I think we're going to try, and this is a trial and error, and I probably shouldn't do this on my YouTube video for the first time, but I just bought a garlic press. I've never used it, so I think we're going to try that. So hang tight, because this could go really well, or it could be a total loss. Okay, so this is my new handy dandy little garlic press. Never had one, never used one. We'll see what happens. If it doesn't work, we'll call it a fail. We'll move on and we'll put it in the little mini chopper. So I guess what you do is you just put it down in here. I hope that you don't have to chop it any smaller than this. I don't know, but we'll see. I'm going to stick it in there and I'm going to put it over my bowl and I'm going to press. Oh my gosh, it works, I think. And it just mushes it. Okay, well, mush is okay. I want the flavor anyhow, so let's put another one in there and just try it again. And we'll squish, squish, squish. And it's really not that hard to squish. I guess it's, yeah, it's kind of just like juicing it. We'll take the back side of this knife and scrape it off. And we have one more piece. I'm just going to take this and scoop it in there too. And we'll put the last piece in here. Yeah, I'm thinking this isn't something that I'm going to use again. I don't really want mushed. I like actually having a little bit of diced pieces in there. But for stuffing, this will be good. We just want the flavor. So we won't call this a fail. We'll just call this, I don't know if I'll use this again, unfortunately. So we'll take and clean some of this off of here. Just put that down in the sink. And we'll get some of this out of here. Yeah, see how it just kind of like, I don't know. It's not my cup of tea. It's not my idea. I think I would rather mince it or take it and put it in the chopper. Hopefully it's good, but it's a little bit finer than what I like. Alright, so now we have in here the onion, we have the mushroom, and we have the garlic. I'm going to go ahead and put this bag of stuffing in. Now I'm going to mix these, and I'm only going to put like half of this in for now. And then we're going to chop up some of this bread and we're going to put half of it in. In the meantime, let me get some of the stuff out of here so I can create more room. As I said, we live in a really small place and this is the counter space that we have in this kitchen. We have no more. So let me clean some of this up and we'll be right back. Hang with me. Okay, so now we have some of that cleaned up. We're going to take probably half of the loaf of this and chop it up. Now, if you have like an unblistered carving knife or something like that, it's easier for you. I don't have those things. We don't have the storage space here. But I'm going to take like half of this loaf and I'm going to do this backwards because I am right-handed, but I kind of want you to see it. I don't want to be blocking it. So I like to take it and cut it in about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch thick. So nice loaves. I am going to go backwards now because that's very awkward. But we'll try to do it this way. And maybe half of this is good, half of it isn't. We might have to add more because once you put the melted butter in and the chicken broth, it obviously is going to squish down. So you're going to need more. But for now, your bowl isn't big enough. So alright, now once I have them all cut into like little bread slices like that. You just want to kind of dice it into cubes. Now, you can tear your bread apart. You don't have to cut it. You can use a serrated knife. You can use an electric carving knife. Whatever is your fancy. I don't like to tear bread. I'm very anal. So I like to make sure that I can cut it kind of all the same size. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect. Alright, so we're going to just take and slice this one into some cubes. Or close enough to cubes. Add that. So when my mom was getting sick, she didn't want to have Thanksgiving. So she decided we were going to have spaghetti for Thanksgiving. And I was all fine with that. It's been 8 years since she's been gone, and I miss her immensely. So the holidays are really hard for me. I think that's, you know, everybody gets the holiday blues. So doing this meal means a lot to me, to be able to give back and to make somebody feel like they have family in the area. And these people are so appreciative around here of everything that happens. They're always helpful and they're always kind. So I just want to give back a little bit. There was another Thanksgiving, again closer to my mom not feeling well towards the end of life, and she wanted Chinese food. And I was like, Mom, you're not going to find a Chinese restaurant. Nothing is open on Thanksgiving. Well, sure enough, there were Chinese restaurants open on Thanksgiving. So my mom got her wish and she had Chinese for Thanksgiving that year. Family is very important. Near or far, no matter where your family is, just be thankful for them. Whether you have a good family, a bad family, a tight family, a family full of drama. Family is, you've been given your family. You can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family. You can choose to eliminate yourself from some of your family if you would like to, for your own well-being, because of drama or maybe constant problems. But eventually, family is supposedly always there for you. Alright, so we have this bread chopped up. I'm going to pop over here and check this meat real quick. Alright, so now we're back over here. This is cooked pretty well on one side, and it's kind of formed all back together. So let's just flip this around, stir it up a little bit, kind of try to chop it up as you go, because we want this as pretty fine, because we're putting it in the stuffing, so we don't want it to overpower or take over the stuffing. It's just meant to give it a little bit more taste and flavor. And again, you don't have to put stuffing, or you don't have to put sausage in your stuffing if you don't want to. Some people are kind of weirded out by pork and turkey mixed together. The flavors actually marinate and mingle very well together, and it gives it a little bit more fluffiness. Now, I will tell you, this isn't a stuffing that you make that's a dry stuffing. It is a very good moist stuffing. I do it both ways. I will put some inside the turkey. Some people do not agree with that. They say it doesn't cook the turkey well enough, it doesn't cook the stuffing well enough. I have, and my grandparents, for many, many, many years have done it this way, and no one has ever gotten sick. Cross your fingers. So I will continue to do it that way. Now, Papa Smurf prefers to have his outside of the turkey. That's fine. So I make a big enough batch that I can stuff in the turkey, and then I turn around and I make a nice casserole dish that keeps nice and moist for Papa Smurf. And it's the best of both worlds. Alright, so we got that chopped up a little bit again. We're gonna come back to that as soon as we finish the stuffing over here. Okay, so we have one more thing to chop up, and that's our spinach. But I just have to show you. Do you not just love this cutting board? Papa Smurf and I went to a flea market around here, and there was a man who made these. And this is all hand cut and handmade. It is heavy, it is beautiful. We don't ever use it because it's too beautiful. But I figured it was worthy of the video. So, let's chop up a little bit of our spinach as our sausage cools. Again, this isn't something you have to put in it. This is just something that we've decided that we're going to put in it because we don't like, we want a little bit of the green, but we don't like peppers, and we don't like, yep, brain dead Terry as always. We don't like peppers or celery. So this is going to get a little bit of green with a little bit of flavor. You can eliminate this. You don't have to put it in. Any chef out there is going to tell me I'm not using a knife correctly. I understand this. I do the best that I can do, and it has gotten me through, yeah, women don't tell their age, 47, maybe 48 years of my life. Obviously, I haven't been cooking that long, but I manage to mutilate and chop with a knife to the best of my ability. I will never be a Rachel Ray. That's fine. I just need to be Angel Smurf and enjoy cooking the way I do. And thank you for watching. Thank you for watching and trying to learn how we do our stuffing. Maybe it'll be something new you try. Maybe you'll take one look at it and say, oh my gosh, no. But you know what? I wanted to share this with the people out there that are maybe teenagers or first-time wives and they've not cooked a Thanksgiving meal. So why not? Why not try to help them a little bit? All recipes, remember, no matter what, any recipe can be tweaked to add and subtract what you like. And we're not a family who ever used measurements for anything. So cooking for me was actually super easy because there was no right or wrong way to do it. It was, if you tasted it and you didn't like it, oh snap, don't do that again. But for the most part, my mom was a chef. My dad was a very good cook. My grandfather owned a restaurant and some concession stands. So I would say I actually got like the cooking bug naturally. And I never really had to work hard at being a good cook. And it helped. My grandfather always told me, key thing, the best way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So, I learned very early on. Just pick up and cook. We were all very healthy people. We like to eat, enjoy eating. So, lucky for me, I have found a man who enjoys everything I make. Never complains. Kind of makes fun of me because I am prone to burning garlic bread. Pretty much burn garlic bread every time I cook it. So don't let me anywhere around bread other than stuffing. Alright, so that to me, I try to do the things that I try to do when I say I don't use a recipe and I don't use measurements, that I go by sight and taste. You want it to look appealing and you want it to taste good. So you can kind of tell, like that probably once it's mixed in, and it's going to be enough green in there. So we're going to put the spinach aside. And now here comes the tricky part. Like I said, your bowl is not going to be big enough. I like to take some of the Lipton onion soup and throw in there. Generally, I start out, again, everything I do is in halves because my bowl isn't big enough, but when I add the broth, it's all going to cook down. So I only do half of this for now. And you can always add more bread. you can add more spices, but you can't take it out if you put too much in. Now we tend to use the powders because everything you find comes with salt in it. So if you used garlic salt and you used onion salt and you used salt and pepper and your chicken broth has salt and your butter has salt and Lipton onion soup has salt, it becomes over salty very quickly. So I do a little bit just of, now with the pepper, I'm just going to kind of, I don't know, I would say probably about a tablespoon of pepper for now. We're not going to put lids back on this because we are going to have to taste it. Now I go light on salt, and I say that was probably only about 1/4 of a teaspoon. And we're just going to, this is sage, so we're just going to put, I just kind of sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Alright, so now now we see what we're looking at. Now we have some basil. Now, basil and oregano are used mostly like in kind of Italian cooking to bring out those spices or chicken or whatever. I don't want this to taste Italian-y, but I want to add a little bit of the green, and so that's probably about a teaspoon. And I want to add a little bit of the flavor because that flavor has a little bit of boom, so that it's not just a plain tasting. And then same with the oregano. I'm going to just put probably about a teaspoon of oregano in there. We're going to let that go. And now here's one of my secret recipes, just a little bit of ground mustard. And we're just going to do the same thing. We're just going to sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Now this just gives it, I don't know, I can't even tell you what it gives it, but it's just a good secret ingredient to put in there. Alright, garlic powder, not salt, so it's not too salty. And just a healthy dose over the top. And the same thing with the onion powder. We're just going to do a healthy sprinkle right over the top. And then you're going to put your butter in. Now, I cheated. I put the butter here, but I actually have already melted some butter because it works better. So, we're going to take our melted butter and we're going to kind of sprinkle a little bit of it. That's probably half of it. That's a full stick of butter that I'm using. There you go. One ingredient that was measured. I'm going to get this spoon out of here because, as I said, I dive right in with my hands. I try to make it because I want to know the thickness of it. So we're going to try to mix this up just a little bit before we add any more butter or any more sauce, because you don't want your bread to get soggy. You want it really moist, but you don't want it soggy. So you want to mix this all in. You got the different size breadcrumbs in here with the different textures. And then, well, heck, I didn't open my chicken broth beforehand, so because my camera is sitting in the sink, let me be right back. I need to wash my hands. Alright, so this meat looks done. We've got it nice and crispy. I'm going to turn it off and we're going to let it cool a little bit. We're going to actually put it on some paper plates, try to press out some of that grease. There's not a lot of grease in here, but I do like to try to press out some of the grease so that it isn't all greasy. So let's just let this cool because I'm from old school. I don't use spoons to stir my stuffing. I use my hands that are always washed and good and clean, but I want to make sure this is good and cool before I go sticking my hands down in there. So let's set this aside and we'll come back to it. We're going to finish up the rest of our stuffing over here and we can combine it together. Okay, so my hands are washed I'm going to shake up my chicken broth. And we're going to use a little bit of chicken broth in here. I'm going to just go dribble, dribble, dribble one, dribble, dribble in the inside a little bit, and dribble a little bit more on the outside. And I'm going to go ahead and throw my sausage in here. It's cool enough now. So now we have our sausage in there. We have a little bit more room, so we'll put a little of the smaller breadcrumbs in here for, not breadcrumbs, stuffing cubes. And let's mix this up a little more. Maybe before I get my hands in there, we'll add a little bit of butter to the top. And now mix this up. And you don't want to squish it. You want to gentle. You just kind of like gentle, mush it around a little bit, kind of fold it. See how I put my hand under there and like fold it over? Because you don't want it all squished. Just kind of move it around. Get your seasonings mixed in there. And of course the butter and the chicken broth help the seasonings stick. The sausage and the mushrooms in this are just amazing. Mix this all up. I still got a pretty good center of sausage, so mix it a different direction. And of course, I'm a messy mixer. And there goes one on the floor that I'm sure the cat will get. Alright. So, since there's nothing in here that you cannot eat because everything is now cooked, this is how I taste. I do a taste to make sure. And I'm telling you what, if you had smell-o-vision right now, this stuff smells so amazing. Absolutely delicious. Oh gosh, it smells so good. So I just like to take a piece, and I like to get a little bit of piece of the sausage with a little bit of the breadcrumb, just to make sure it's not too salty or too much. Perfect. Alright, so that's how you make Pennsylvania stuffing, Angel Smurf style. And we're going to set this aside because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our turkey ready, and we're going to put this stuffing in that turkey. Now I'll probably do another little batch similar to this with the rest of the breadcrumbs, but I don't have to put you through the agony of watching it all over again. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe below. If you enjoyed this video, if you have any tips for me to make it better, other than saying I would appreciate it. There's also a super thanks below. Any super thanks that I'm given is given to our 4 rescue cats that are strays that we have adopted. We give it back to them, we vet them, we spay every one of them, we bring them in and we give them the unconditional love that they deserve from the humans that have discarded them and just abandoned them and left them to fend for themselves. So anything that you help do, anything you help give, goes 100% back to Gypsy, Chow, Zeus, and now Snowflake. Thanks for watching.